viewers, என்னோட வீடியோஸ் பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்க. இதுவரைக்கும் சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணாதவங்க சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. ரைட் சைடுல இருக்கக்கூடிய பெல் பட்டனை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க. நீங்க கொடுக்குற ஒவ்வொரு லைக்ஸும் நான் நிறைய வீடியோஸ் அப்லோட் பண்றதுக்கு மோட்டிவேட்டா இருக்கு. ஸோ லைக், ஷேர், சப்ஸ்கிரைப் அண்ட் கமெண்ட் மை வீடியோ. Hi viewers, இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போற டாபிக் Class 8 Unit 4 Human Rights மனித உரிமை and UNO United Nations Organization. Let us go through the learning objectives of this chapter. To understand what human rights are, to understand the relationship between rights and responsibilities, to know the importance of human rights, to understand that human rights belong to everybody, to appreciate the meaning and significance, that is importance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948 UDHR. Let us start with the introduction. Everybody is born equal. Each individual in the world has a right to lead a dignified life, that is self-respect, suyamariyade, of his or her own choice. Human rights are related to individuals and society. Human rights denotes all those rights that are inherent, that is permanently existing, and ensure that we live as free people and exercise our choices. The state's role is to ensure that people have equal rights. What are human rights? Human rights are rights inherent to all human beings irrespective of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, that is inam, language and religion. Human rights include freedom from slavery, slavery means adimaitanam, and torture, freedom of opinion and expression and fair trial, the right to life, work and education. Where do human rights come from? A set of basic rights and freedoms has deep roots in European and American countries. That is, the written precursor means forerunner, munnodi, of human rights documents of various countries. Then second, the birth of United Nations. And the third, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR. First one, the written precursors of human rights documents. The Magna Carta of 1215, England. What is Magna Carta? The Great Charter is one of the most famous documents in the world, originally issued by King John of England as a practical solution to the political crisis, that is problem he faced in 1215. Magna Carta established the principle that everybody, including the king, was subject to law. அனைவரும் சட்டத்திற்கு கட்டுப்பட்டு. This document gave the people new rights and made the king subject to the law. The next, the Petition of Right 1628, England. This document set out the rights of the people. The next written document, Habeas Corpus Act of 1679, England. An act for better securing liberty, that is freedom of the subject. Subject means people. The Habeas Corpus Act 1679 is an act of parliament in England during the period of King Charles II. It was passed by what became known as Habeas Corpus Parliament to define and strengthen the ancient prerogative writ, means written command, of habeas corpus, which required a court to examine the lawfulness of a prisoner's detention and thus prevent unlawful or arbitrary imprisonment. In simple term, habeas corpus means bring a person before a court or a judge. The next, the English Bill of Rights of 1689, it set out the certain basic civil rights. The next written document is the French Declaration on the Rights of Man and Citizen 1789, a document of France stating that all citizens are equal under the law. The next, the US Constitution and Bill of Rights 1791, it safeguards the rights of the citizens. The birth of United Nations. The idea of human rights emerged stronger after the Second World War. This war led to unimaginable violation, that is against of human rights. During the times of war, human lives lost its value and those affected by war had to struggle till the end of their life. Atrocities, that is physical violence, the cruel activity during the Second World War made clear that previous efforts to protect individual rights from government violations were inadequate. The rights of man were prevented or eliminated in several parts of the world due to several factors. It is proved that the government of some countries alone could not protect human rights. People wanted to ensure that never again would anyone be unjustly denied life, freedom, food, shelter, and nationality. These voices played a critical role in the San Francisco meeting in which the United Nations Charter was drafted in 1945. Due to the impact of Second World War, an international body, the United Nations Organization, which was established on 24th October 1945, took up the issue. Human rights is an important theme in all UN policies and programs in the areas of peace and security, development, humanitarian assistance, and economic and social affairs. The United Nations is an intergovernmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and be a center for organizing the actions of nations. It is the largest, most familiar, most internationally represented, and most powerful intergovernmental organization in the world. The UN is headquartered on international territory in New York City. The UN was established after Second World War with the aim of preventing future wars, succeeding the ineffective League of Nations. At its founding, the UN had 51 member states, but at present, the member countries of UNO is 193. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights UDHR, one of the greatest achievements of United Nations is the creation of human rights law. To advance this goal, the UN established a Commission on Human Rights. The commission was guided by Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of former US President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Her forceful leadership captured the world's attention. Finally, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by UN General Assembly in 1948. It is a milestone document in the history of human rights. The declaration was proclaimed, that is announced by the UN General Assembly in Paris, France on 10th December 1948. In remembrance of every year, 10th December is observed as a Human Rights Day and its regular observance commenced from 1950. It is known as the modern International Magna Carta of Human Rights. Its principles have been incorporated into the constitutions of most of the nations. UDHR has been translated into more than 500 languages. It is the most translated document in the world. The Cyrus cylinder 539 BCE. Cyrus the Great, the first king of ancient Persia, freed the slaves and declared that all people had the right to choose their own religion and established racial equality. These decrees were recorded on a baked clay cylinder in the Akkadian language in cuneiform script, that is logo-syllabic script. It is translated into all 6 official languages of United Nations and its provisions parallel the first 4 articles of UDHR. Human rights are based on the values of dignity, Ganniyam, the right to life, the right to integrity, the prohibition of enforced labor, slavery and degrading punishment. Number 2, justice, Needi, the right to fair trial, நேர்மையான விசாரணைக்கான உரிமை, proportional punishment to crime, the right not to be trialed more than once for the same crime, ஒரே குற்றத்திற்காக ஒன்றுக்கு மேற்பட்ட முறை விசாரணைக்குட்படுத்தாத உரிமை. Equality, சமத்துவம், equality before law, no discrimination on race, religion, gender, age, ability, disability, etc. Basic characteristics of human rights, inherent, இயல்பானவை, they are not granted by any person or authority. Fundamental, அடிப்படையானவை, they are fundamental rights because without them the life and dignity of man will be meaningless. Inalienable, மாற்ற முடியாதவை, they cannot be taken away from the individual. Indivisible, பிரிக்க முடியாதவை, they cannot be denied even when other rights have already been enjoyed. Universal, உலகளாவிய, they are universal, they apply irrespective of one's origin or status. They are enforceable without national border. Interdependent, சார்புடையவை, they are interdependent because the fulfillment or excess of one human right cannot be had without the realization of the other. Human Rights Day is celebrated annually on 10th December every year. It is to honor the United Nations General Assembly for declaring the human rights universally. Kinds of human rights. First one, civil rights. Number 2, political rights. Number 3, social rights. Number 4, economic rights. Number 5, cultural rights. There are 30 articles incorporated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These rights are broadly classified into 5 primary categories. They are: number 1, civil rights, வாழ்வியல் உரிமைகள். The term civil rights refers to the basic rights afforded, that is given by the laws of the government to every person. This is the right to be treated as an equal to anyone else. It includes the rights to life, liberty, சுதந்திரம், freedom from slavery, அடிமைத்தனத்திலிருந்து விடுதலை, and arbitrary arrest, நியாயமற்ற முறையில் கைது செய்யாமை. Second one, political rights, அரசியல் உரிமைகள். Political rights are exercised in the formation and administration, நிர்வாகம் of a government. The civil and political rights are directly related to modern democracy. They protect the individual from the misuse of political power, that is, அரசியல் அதிகாரத்தை தவறாக பயன்படுத்துவதிலிருந்து தனிநபரை பாதுகாக்கிறது. And recognize every individual's right to participate in their country's political process. It includes the freedom of expression and peaceful assembly, அமைதியாக கூட்டம் நடத்துதல். The right to take part in the government of one's country. The right to vote, வாக்குரிமை. The freedom of speech and obtain information, தகவல்களை பெறும் உரிமை. Third one, social rights, சமூக உரிமைகள். It is necessary for an individual to fully participate in the society. Social rights are those rights necessary for an adequate standard of living, வாழ்க்கை தரத்திற்கு தேவையான, including the right to education, healthcare, food, clothing, shelter and social security. Fourth one, economic rights, பொருளாதார உரிமைகள். The right to participate in an economy that benefits all and to desirable work, விரும்பத்தக்க வேலைக்கு செல்வதாகும். Economic rights guarantee every person to have a condition under which they are able to meet their needs. This includes the right to employment and fair wage, நியாயமான ஊதியம். The reasonable limitation of working hours, நியாயமான வேலை நேரம். Shelter, education and adequate standard of living and the right to property, சொத்துரிமை. Fifth one, cultural rights, கலாச்சார உரிமைகள். The right to freedom of religion, சமய சுதந்திரம், and to speak the language and to practice the cultural life of the community, சமூகத்தின் கலாச்சார வாழ்க்கையை நடைமுறைப்படுத்துவதற்கான உரிமை. And the right to share in scientific advancement, அறிவியல் முன்னேற்றத்தில் பங்கு பெறுவதற்கான உரிமை. And the right to the protection of moral and material interest, தார்மீக மற்றும் பொருள் ஆர்வத்தை பாதுகாக்கும் உரிமை. Let us see the difference between the human rights and civil rights. Human rights belong to everyone, everywhere, irrespective of nationality, sexuality, gender, race, inam, religion or age. Civil rights are those rights that one enjoys by virtue of citizenship in a particular nation or state. Human rights are considered universal to all human beings and universal in all countries. But civil rights vary greatly from country to countries or government to government. It is related to constitution. Under human rights, no nation may rightfully deprive human rights to an individual. எந்த ஒரு தேசமும் தனிநபருக்கான மனித உரிமைகளை பறிக்க முடியாது. Under civil rights, different nations can grant or deny different civil rights and liberties. உரிமைகளை வழங்கவோ மறுக்கவோ முடியும். Human rights are basic rights inherent with birth, but civil rights are the creation of the society. சமூகத்தினால் உருவாக்கப்படுகின்றன. Human Rights Commission. Number 1, National Human Rights Commission NHRC, and number 2, State Human Rights Commission SHRC. Human Rights Commission. The Economic and Social Council ECOSOC, a principal organ of the United Nations, was empowered to set up a commission for the promotion of human rights. National level and state level human rights commissions were established to ensure the protection of human rights. The National Human Rights Commission NHRC of India is a statutory public body constituted on 12th October 1993 under the Protection of Human Rights Ordinance of 28th September 1993. It was given a statutory basis by the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 PHRA, formed 12th October 1993, headquarters New Delhi, India. First one, National Human Rights Commission NHRC. The National Human Rights Commission NHRC of India was established on 12th October 1993. It is an independent, சுதந்திரமான, statutory, சட்டபூர்வமான, and non-constitutional body, அரசியலமைப்பு சாராத ஒரு அமைப்பாகும். Its headquarters is located in New Delhi. NHRC is a multi-member body which consists of a chairperson and other members. The President appoints the chairperson and other members. They are appointed for 5 years or till the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. NHRC has 5 divisions, namely Law Division, Investigation Division, Policy Research and Programs Division, Training Division, and Administrative Division. The National Human Rights Commission is responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights in India. Second one, State Human Rights Commission SHRC. The State Human Rights Commission of Tamil Nadu was formed on 17th April 1997. It functions at the state level. It consists of 3 members including a chairperson. A State Human Rights Commission can inquire into violation of human rights related to the subjects covered under state list and concurrent list in the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. That is, the legislative section is divided into 3 lists, namely Union List, State List, Concurrent List. State List deals with public order, police, court fee, local government, public health, etc. There are 59 items in the State List. Concurrent List. It includes subjects that give power to center and state, namely education, forest, trade union, marriage, etc. There are 52 items in the Concurrent List. Human rights organizations. Many organizations around the world have taken their efforts to protect human rights and for ending human rights abuse. Abuse means misuse. These non-governmental organizations monitor the actions of governments and pressure them to act according to human rights principles. Some of these organizations are Amnesty International, Children's Defense Fund, Human Rights Watch. Indian Constitution. Article 24 prohibits child labor. குழந்தை தொழிலாளர் முறையை தடை செய்கிறது. Article 39F provides for children to develop in healthy manner. ஆரோக்கியமாக குழந்தைகள் வளர வழிவகை செய்கிறது. Article 45 provides that the state shall endeavor to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years. 6 வயது வரை அனைத்து குழந்தைகளுக்கும் ஆரம்பகால குழந்தை பராமரிப்பு மற்றும் கல்வியை வழங்க அரசு முயல்கிறது. Next topic is about child rights. According to Article 1 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child 1989, a child means every human being below the age of 18 years. The Convention on the Rights of the Child was proclaimed, that is announced by UN on 20th November 1989. The child is considered as an important national asset. The future of a nation depends on how its children mature and develop. So, protection of children from all kinds of exploitation and abuses has become the main objective of our society. There are laws in India protecting the rights of the children. UNO, United Nations Organization, has declared 1978 as International Year of Women, 1979 as the International Year of Children. Child's Right. Number 1, Right to Education Act. Number 2, the Child Labor Act. Number 3, the Juvenile Justice Act 2000, Sirar Needi. Number 4, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. First one, Right to Education Act. Article 21A provides that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children aged 6 to 14 years. Second one, the Child Labor Act, Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. It provides no child who has not completed 15 years of age can be employed. Third one, Juvenile Justice Act 2000, Sirar Needi, Care and Protection of Children. This act tries to protect children deprived of adequate care and to reform the children by adopting child-friendly approach. இந்த சட்டம் போதுமான கவனிப்பு இல்லாமல் இருக்கும் குழந்தைகளை நட்பு ரீதியில் அணுகி அவர்களை சீர்திருத்த முயற்சி மேற்கொள்கிறது. Fourth one, POCSO Act 2012, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, regards the best interest of the child as being paramount importance in every state. 1098 Childline. This is India's first 24 hours free emergency phone service for children in need of assistance. Special care is given for vulnerable children, பாதிக்கப்பட்ட குழந்தைகள், those affected by child labor, child marriage, and children affected by any abuse. Next topic is about women's rights. Women and girls' rights are human rights. Women are entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of all of their human rights and to be free from all forms of discrimination. This is fundamental to achieve human rights, peace and security, and Sustainable Development. The Charter of the United Nations guarantees equal rights to both women and men. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, adopted in 1979 by the UN General Assembly, is described as an international bill of rights for women. In 1995, the Fourth World Conference of Women, held in Beijing, China, developed a platform for action to recognize women's rights and improve women's livelihood worldwide, and follow-up meetings monitored progress towards meeting these goals. The United Nations Development Fund for Women, UNIFEM, has worked since 1995 to implement the Beijing Platform for Action. Only when women and girls have full access to their rights will true equality exist. Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act 2007. This act makes it legal obligation for children and has, that is varisugal, to provide maintenance to senior citizens and parents. Protection and support during old age are envisaged as human rights. The next topic is legislations, Sattangal, and provisions, Vidigal. First one, the Hindu Widow Remarriage Act 1856, Hindu Vidavai Marumana Chattam. It legalized widow remarriage. Second one, the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. It states that the marriageable age for women is 21. Third one, the Hindu Succession Act 1956, Hindu Varisa Sattam. It ensures that the right to women to inherit their parental property, பெண்கள் தங்கள் பெற்றோர்களின் சொத்தினை மரபு வழியாக பெறுவதை உறுதி செய்கிறது. Fourth one, the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, வரதட்சணை தடை சட்டம். It provides drastic punishments for those ill-treating the bride in the name of dowry. வரதட்சணை என்ற பெயரில் மருமகளை மோசமாக நடத்துவதற்கு கடுமையான தண்டனை வழங்குகிறது. Number 5, the Eve Teasing Act 1997, பெண்களை கேலி செய்வதற்கு எதிரான சட்டம். It gives reliefs to women. Next one, Indecent Representation Act 1999. It prohibits the indecent representation of women in magazine, newspapers, etc. பத்திரிகைகள், செய்தித்தாள்கள் போன்றவற்றில் பெண்களை அநாகரிகமாக சித்தரித்தலை தடை செய்கிறது. The Factory Act 1948, the Plantation Labor Act 1951, the Mines Act 1952, the Maternity Benefit Act 1961, மகப்பேறு நலச் சட்டம். It protects the women workers. The next one, Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. It protects women from harassment by husband and family members. கணவர் மற்றும் குடும்ப உறுப்பினர்களால் பெண்கள் துன்புறுத்தப்படுவதிலிருந்து பாதுகாக்கிறது. Let us end the session with conclusion. Human rights are about equality and fairness for everyone, and it ensures that everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The protection of human rights is everyone's responsibility, and understanding and respect for human rights provides the foundation for peace, harmony, security, and freedom in our community. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel for more videos. It will be useful for your competitive exam.